Thank you for watching Energy Views by Petrochemical Strategies. It has been a busy week in energy markets. Let's look at the numbers. Crude oil and refined products have been bullish over the past week, but this didn't stop WTI prices from taking a little tumble on reports of high U.S. gasoline inventories and sluggish demand. Also, the price for Brent crude came off for the second consecutive session as stockpiles increased amid news of increasing refinery output. Let's take a look at crude futures. The blue line on this chart shows Cushing crude oil futures as published by the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Over the past week, Cushing crude futures gained $8.38 per barrel. At the same time, New York Harbor RBOB futures, as shown by the orange line, gained $1.80 per barrel. And New York Harbor number 2 heating oil was pretty much flat. As a result, refining margins are being squeezed. In this chart, you can see that the 3-2-1 crack came off almost $7.70 per barrel between July 13th and July 20th. Over the past weeks, I have been talking about what I think are the leading indicators in the crude and refined product markets, and potentially indicators for what is going on across energy markets. The first indicator is the price of retail gasoline. On July 18th, the national average for gasoline was $4.49 per gallon, which was down 15.6 cents per gallon from the previous week. What I found interesting was that the decrease was seen across all Petroleum Administration Defense Districts or PADs. The second indicator is the forward prices for crude oil. Both WTI and Brent crude futures are in backwardation, meaning participants believe that crude markets are stronger today than they will be in the future. This raises two questions in my mind. The first, will the national average for gasoline dip below $4 per gallon this year? And the second, what effect will all of this have on refinery run rates and margins? We need to keep watching these trends and fundamentals. Let's turn our attention now to natural gas. As you can see here, U.S. natural gas futures are up over $1.10 over the past week to $7.26 per MMBTU on July 18th. Since last year, natural gas futures are almost $3.50 per MMBTU higher. According to the EIA, working gas storage was estimated to be 2,401 billion cubic feet, or BCF, as of last Friday. This represents an increase of over 32 billion cubic feet from the previous week. However, this level is less than last year at the same time and less than the 5-year average. The war in Ukraine is raising concerns in Europe about the future of natural gas supply from Russia. In fact, the European Union has asked member states to voluntarily reduce natural gas usage by 15% through March of 2023 due to fears that Moscow may further reduce supply. Not only does this raise concern for European industries, but supply fears also affect residential users who need natural gas for heat. Let's turn our attention to petrochemical feedstocks, or NGLs. In this week's Natural Gas Weekly Update, the EIA reported that ethane prices were up 22% after falling during the first week of July. This widened the spread between ethane and natural gas on a BTU basis. However, the spread between ethane and ethylene narrowed as ethylene prices dropped. Propane, normal butane, and natural gasoline prices all fell. Isobutane prices remained relatively unchanged. Propane and propylene inventories reached 59 million barrels on July 15. This is up 2 million barrels from the previous week, but down 3 million barrels from last year. The largest gains from the previous week were in the Midwest and Gulf Coast regions. Current inventories of propane and propylene represent almost 70 days of supply. Let's wrap up looking at petrochemicals. Last week, I noted that U.S. petrochemical feedstock futures had a weak backwardation through the end of the year, while at the same time, olefins had a weak contango structure. The takeaway for me was that the market viewed feedstocks as stronger today than in the future, and products stronger in the future than today. Today, feedstock futures have a slightly different structure, with ethane futures in backwardation and propane and butane relatively flat. Product futures maintained its contango. This could be good news for petrochemical producers, especially if downstream demand sustains through the end of this year and into 2023. All right, it's time to wrap up. U.S. refining margins are being squeezed. Crude oil futures indicate a sentiment that the market is stronger today than it will be in the future. And retail gasoline prices are trending downwards. The outlook for natural gas depends on what Moscow does next and how it will affect Europe. NGLs are relatively stable in the US, and there seems to be some upside in domestic petrochemicals. This is a very, very dynamic market where a lot can change in a very short period of time. So thank you for watching Energy Views presented by Petrochemical Strategies. My name is Robert Sawchuk, and I will see you next time.